And former President Donald Trump is spending his time off from his criminal hush money trial in New York City. He's campaigning in one of the most Democratic counties in the United States, the Bronx.
And the former president has been holding a rally today where President Biden secured actually 83% of votes in 2020. Our senior congressional correspondent Rachel Scott and political director Rick Klein join us now for more, and also why he's focusing on this seemingly unfriendly territory. So, Rachel, apparently there's been a George Santos sighting at the rally, creating quite a buzz. You've probably seen the video and the pictures across the internet, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Trump, though, you know, likely this is not a state that he's going to win. So why make such a big deal?
Yeah, Kira, unfriendly territory is right. We know that New York tends to vote for Democratic presidential candidates and lawmakers, of course, with the exception of a few regions in New York. But the former president here likely knows that he's not going to win over the Bronx entirely. But what the Trump campaign has been trying to do is really chip away at President Biden's support among Latino voters, among black voters as well. And so this is going to be another opportunity for the former president to do that. But yes, it is quite strange, a day off from court. This would typically be a time in a normal campaign cycle where we are seeing the Republican presumptive nominee blitz a battleground state that typically decides these elections. But this has been a very big push from the former president and his campaign, trying to make some inroads with these voters who they believe could be very frustrated with President Biden heading into November.
Well, Rick, there's a kind of a rule of thumb, isn't there, that if you're campaigning on your own turf, you're trying to hold on to what you've got. I mean, Trump has been campaigning in New Jersey and now the Bronx. Whatever happens in those states, is that an indication that he feels he's got the wind in his sails and he can go looking not necessarily for states, but for votes?
Yeah, that's actually the critical difference here. He's not going to win New York or New Jersey. That's not going to happen. But the kinds of voters that he saw in New Jersey, those are Trump voters that look like Trump voters in lots of other places. And guess what? The voters that he's going to interact with in the Bronx today, a lot of black and Latino voters are likely to be part of that crowd. Those are critical for him. And I think he knows what the pictures look like. He knows what the symbolism is. And I don't think the electoral map is on his mind as much as he may talk about winning New York and New Jersey. That's not going to happen. But he knows that Joe Biden has a particular weakness right now, particularly with younger men of color. And he would love to pick off some votes among voters that look a lot like the voters that he's likely to see tonight in the Bronx.
All right, Rachel, the big talker. She called him unhinged, that he should never be president. Now Nikki Haley is saying, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. Okay, there is more to the story here. All kinds of theories floating out there. Let me just start with what you make of that. And what do you think she is setting herself up for here?
Yeah, this is someone that she called a disaster. She said that, you know, publicly Republicans come out in support of the former president and privately they dread it. And here you have Nikki Haley saying that if she's given the choice, obviously, between Biden and Trump, that she's going to vote for Donald Trump. Now, this was not a full-fledged endorsement. I think that was pretty notable that she didn't just come out and flat out endorse him, but she is sort of opening that door now to come closer to former President Donald Trump in a way that we have seen all Republicans do. Even the ones that have bashed him in the past have somehow finally made their way right back to him. Even right here on Capitol Hill, you do remember Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell had very strong words for the former president as well, ended up endorsing him. And so right now, the big question that a lot of people have is, will she be his potential running mate? We know at this point Trump has ruled that out, but there's no telling whether or not that could possibly change in the future.
Hey, there's a lot of people he has ruled out of his circle and then brought back into his circle. Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we should start putting our bets on. I know Rick probably wants to weigh in on this as well. But wait, we've got breaking news from the Senate side.
We do.
Okay.
So, Rachel, since we got you, Congress is your beat. The Senate has failed to pass the border security bill. Bit of a political stunt here by Democrats trying to help Biden out on this issue, it seems. Not much of a surprise, really, huh?
Not much of a surprise. The second time in 3 months that the Senate has rejected what started as a bipartisan proposal. Originally, they had foreign aid, Ukraine aid attached to this bill. Obviously, now this is a standalone measure with just those immigration proposals. even the Republicans, Senator James Lankford, who helped craft this legislation, who bucked his own party, taking that move to come out and voice support for it, even though Donald Trump was against it, ended up voting against this legislation today. I caught up with him earlier. He told me he sees this as purely a political move by Democrats, and especially because a lot of Republicans are pointing to the fact that you have some very vulnerable Democratic senators who are trying to just have a better record on this issue, and they believe that's the reason why Schumer put it on the floor. Schumer sort of firing back, saying if Republicans really want to address this issue, then they should vote to actually pass this bill.
All right, Rick, I've got to get your thoughts on Nikki Haley.
Okay, I have a number for you. Write this down. Put it on a little piece of paper. 2028. Okay, 2028. Write it down. That's what you need to know about Nikki Haley. This doesn't have anything to do with this election. She's not going to be the running mate. That's my bold prediction. You can use the tape against me when I'm wrong, because I'll probably be wrong. But if I'm right, remember that she's laying down a marker about the next election cycle, as far away as it seems, that she was on board on the Trump train. And if Trump loses, she can say she did what she could. If Trump wins, she puts herself in the mix. She's got political ambitions, I think, that set her apart from some of the others like Liz Cheney, like Chris Christie, like Mike Pence, that have decided they're not going to run in future Republican presidential politics. This, to me, says that Nikki Haley wants to.
Yeah.
All right, keep that tape.
Makes sense.
And then when Nikki Haley becomes vice president, it'll just be easier for her to it's going to be easier for her to become president in 2028. All right, so we got it covered here.
There we go.
All right.
And yes, Rachel's remaining neutral. I love it. Okay, guys. Yeah. Rachel, Rick, thank you very much.